Welcome to The Blue Dot, Northern Kentucky's premier political podcast, brought to you by the Kenton County Democratic Executive Committee. Welcome back to The Blue Dot podcast for our weekly roundup, where, as you know, we bring you all the news you need to know in 10 minutes or less. Thanks for joining. I'm Natalie MacDonald.
And I'm Brian Koehl. It's been another busy week, nationally, statewide, and locally. But no matter where you look, the headlines remind us that Democrats are fighting for policies that make real difference in our communities.
That's right, Brian. And with the candidate filing deadline behind us, we now have a full picture of who's running in Kentucky. But before we dive into the races, you want to talk a little bit about the Kentucky Democrats platform that they'll be championing in 2026.
Yeah, I love this platform. It's exactly what we need. House Democrats unveiled their 2026 platform called A Common Vision for the Commonwealth. It's built around 5 key priorities. Number 1, food security. 2nd, affordable, accessible health care. 3rd, affordable housing. Number 4, strong schools and education. And rounding up at number 5, a fair shot for families.
And Brian, you know, I look at this and all I can think of is that these are the priorities that reflect the issues that people are talking about.
Absolutely.
When we talk to people, when you talk to people at these events, at our deep canvassing sessions, when we talk to different people across the county, this is what people care about. You know, they don't care about Greenland or Venezuelan oil, or they don't want masked federal militia in our streets. They care about these 5 principles. And this is what they want addressed. So I think it's great. I think they did a great job on this.
Right.
But
I totally agree.
The one that really stands out to me is that a fair shot for families. And one proposal tied to that is eliminating sales tax on essentials like diapers and medication and utilities, pretty much all of those everyday items that Kentuckians rely on. So I think that's a really good one. And in that, they also want to raise the minimum wage to $17 an hour by 2029 and then index it to inflation so families don't fall behind. And I've been hearing a lot of that come up too, how important that's going to be to kind of keep that on track.
Yeah, like we've discussed, any resistance to, raising the minimum wage, I think what people miss is if people have money in their pockets, they spend it. So they become
100%.
consumers, and it just helps grow the economy. There's lots of win-wins. And these are things that will make a meaningful difference, especially with easing the affordability crisis we are all facing. But the other priorities are equally as important, and I'd like to look into each one of these as well. The first priority is No Hungry Kentuckian. Democrats propose investing $116 million to fight food insecurity, strengthen local food partnerships, and ensure no child, senior, or family goes hungry.
Yeah, it's really a crime, to think about any person in this country going hungry. And it's also a crime that anyone should be denied access to affordable health care. So that's the next priority outlined in the Common Vision for the Commonwealth, where Democrats want to cap medical debt interest at 3%, which only makes sense because you're in debt. That interest is I'll just kill you. And they're also going to keep that debt off of the credit reports. And they also are making a push to require insurers provide equal coverage for mental health, which is course, so important. They also plan to protect 35 rural hospitals that are at risk of closure due to that big, ugly bill by investing $335 million in the Rural Health Hospital Fund. So that's important as well.
Yeah, it's really a shame that we have to make that investment in the Rural Hospital Fund because of the big, ugly bill. But at least Kentucky Democrats are addressing reality. And you mentioned coverage for mental health. I'm not sure if you saw that on Tuesday. The Trump administration sent hundreds of termination letters effective immediately that federal grants supporting health services would be terminated.
Yeah, I don't understand this one, and it kind of came out of the blue, but they're targeting $2 billion in cuts to non-for-profit groups. Many of these groups that provide street-level care to people experiencing addiction, homelessness, and mental illness. And this is just something that I don't think anybody thinks is a good idea. Left, right, or center, I think we can all agree that we need more support for mental health and addiction. This one just doesn't, there's no justifying this.
It's staggering. And to that point, I want to read a quote from Ryan Hampton, founder of a national advocacy nonprofit, because I think he sums it up really well. He said, quote, "This cruelty will be measured in lives lost as recovery centers shutter and the safety net we built is slashed overnight. We are witnessing the dismantling of our recovery infrastructure in real time, and the administration will have blood on its hands for every preventable death that follows." Tells it like it is.
You know what? And he's right. And there's just more lives caused at the hands of this administration. I mean, this is the most anti-life administration that I think we've ever seen. I mean,
Right.
to be honest with you, right? They're not pro-life at all.
No.
But the next priority on the Democrat platform is a big one as well, and that is
Yes.
ensuring an affordable Kentucky home. Now you have some, yeah, I know you have some feelings about this, Brian.
Yeah, with a construction background and having rehabbed a couple of houses, and I just think, having a secure and comfortable place to live is so critical to one's well-being. I think it's just so important. I've really been concerned with the uptick in corporations and investment firms buying large tracts of homes and then charging exorbitant rates to renters. And often then they neglect the properties and it just drives down the property values of entire neighborhoods. Investors saw this opportunity in housing with it becoming scarce and increasingly unaffordable, especially after COVID. And hey, they swooped in and made they're making some huge profits. I mean, political leaders at both state and national levels, bipartisan, are starting to recognize this. And there is some legislation that's bubbling up. But in Kentucky, over 40% of renters spend more than 30% of their income on rent. And that is nearly impossible to overcome, no matter how hard you work. To address this, though, Democrats propose a $150 million affordable housing loan fund to support construction and rehabilitation of affordable homes. Kentucky faces a shortage of 200,000 units statewide, so this investment is huge.
Yeah, and think about though, if you're spending 30% of your income on rent, there's no way that you're saving for a down payment to buy a house.
That's right. And along with this public funds, Governor Beshear mentioned in his his budget address, that they were hoping that up to $1 billion in private investment would also come into this same fund. So it's kind of like a stake to get it started.
Yeah, absolutely. So we covered food insecurity, healthcare, affordable housing, and the last one is strong schools, which
Yes,
is, of course, the topic that the Bashir Coleman administration has been passionate about since the beginning. And the hallmark of this initiative is expanding access to pre-K for all, which we, of course, discussed with Lieutenant Governor Coleman last year.
that's right.
And the plan also includes increasing employee pay, as well as boosting the Kentucky Educational Excellence Scholarship Program. So that focus on college affordability, as well as strengthening school-based mental health services, is in there as well. So again, mental health keeps coming up as something that's important.
That's right. And while Democrats emphasize affordability, food, housing, healthcare, education, Republicans prioritize tax cuts for the rich, deregulation, and conservative social policies rather than focusing on building a Kentucky where everyone has a fair shot.
I mean, nothing new there, right? And Jason Ellis, he's a candidate for Kentucky House 66, and he plugged in all of the bills. This is kind of fun. He plugged in all the bills his Republican challenger has introduced into AI and asked AI to analyze these. And it turns out 60% of those bills were just symbolic to culture wars, like not helping anybody out. 35% were unconstitutional or invalid. Only 5% were real governance. No,
And
none of these address.
sometimes I won't lie.
Yeah, right? Exactly. None of these address the core issues that this platform does. And I think
That's
that it's
right.
really indicative of the disparity between the two parties across the entire state.
Yeah, and that's exactly why local elections matter. And as we stated at the top of the pod, the filing deadline is closed, so we know who the candidates will be. And there are a few which will face primary challenge and others that will be unopposed until November.
Yes, primary is, having so many of these candidates ready, even though we have primaries, I think is a good thing. It really gets a lot of good voices out there. So let's do a quick rundown of the candidates running in Kenton County, as well as the statewide candidates. And as our listeners know, we are conducting candidate interviews, which are available to listen or watch on any streaming platform or our YouTube channel and website. And I also just want to emphasize that we at the Blue Dot, as part of the Kenton County Democrats, do not endorse any candidate at the primary level, but we are here to give them a voice. And so, Brian, do you want to kick us off with the county commissioners?
Yeah, sure, Natalie. There are three county commissioner districts in Kenton County, and we have candidates running in each district. Sarah Froelich in District 1, Benjamin Bach, District 2, and two candidates running for District 3, John Bussey and Jordan Baldridge.
Yes, all great candidates. And it's so great that we're gonna have all of these seats contested in November. We also have the one and only Stephen Hoffman running for his current seat of county magistrate in District 1. He will be facing a challenger this year. But additionally, we do have some really exciting House district races coming up. So in House District 64, we have Nicholas Maharg and William Whalen. Both of those are scheduled to be on the pod coming up next month. In House District 65, Aaron Curran is running again for that seat. And then in House District 64, we have another primary between Brian Snapp and Willan Stengel. And a couple Kentucky Senate races as well. Stella Pollard, who was on our pod, she's a fan favorite for sure. She's running
Yeah.
for District 20. And then Josh Baker in Senate District 25. So
Yeah, and lastly, we have our statewide candidates, U.S. Congressional District 4, Melissa Strange and Jesse Brewer. And for Mitch McConnell's seat, oh my gosh, this is a big one. We have a five-way race, Charles Booker, Logan Forsythe, Amy McGrath, Dale Romans, and Pamela Stevenson. And in this one, the Republicans have 11 people running in the primary. So that should be a really fun race to watch.
yes, indeed. It's very exciting times for sure. But I think the main take home here is to get involved, learn about these candidates, find the candidate you like, back them, volunteer for them, knock doors for them so that we can flip these seats and continue to grow the blue dot in Kentucky. And with that, we conclude your Blue Dot Weekly Roundup, where the news is fast and the facts are free. Until next time, stay curious, keep the facts in focus, and never stop fighting for what matters. Peace out, everybody.